I have been working on this truck all day and it will not fix itself. I cannot bleed the coolant system. It has taken all the time away from my beloved Supra with the plasti dip thing and that, whatever they're called. I also knocked the exhaust off pulling it in. That wasn't good. Last video, we got the wide body kit on the Supra. Well, 2 pieces of it, and it's starting to look really good. Although I already made a little mistake. I realized it after I finished, so it's not all my fault. It's just like your fault. Here's what's happened. So this back flare looks really good. Like it fit, I don't want to say perfectly, but I think I'll just use the word perfectly instead because it looks great. But this front flare, there was something just a little off. Now, I was racking it up in my head, thinking about what could happen. Racking it up isn't a term, but it is now. But I was thinking about it, and I was like, well, maybe it's just because the front isn't like connected, there's no piece there. But then I was like, it still just looks like it's diving forward a little bit. Like this wheel is turned, let me say that first off, but it still feels like the front is aiming a little down. And then I realized it's because the front is aiming a little down. At the end of the last video, I said, hey, be patient because things are going to go wrong that you didn't know could go wrong. And this is one of those situations. We took our time last time. I mean, you watched the video. Well, I hope you watched the video. But I took a good amount of time measuring up and making sure everything was right and trimming like multiple times. And we still made mistakes, so now we're gonna correct it. There is one easy thing about this though, and that is the fact that this cleco pin is already set. This is what we're going to base it off of. So we're gonna disconnect all these pins, rotate it, and then re-drill some holes. The bummer part is, of course, now we have more holes in the car. No one wants that. But what option do we have here? I can continue on and just always look at the car and notice that the front flare is wrong, or we can go back and fix it now and then maybe get a friend to tack up those holes. And in the end, it is a much easier fix than always knowing that you didn't do it the right way. So we're gonna go back, get that fixed now before we can move on to actually fixing up these front flares to the way they will mesh. So we're gonna get this lined up correctly so that we can go and finish getting the flares from the BMW kit fitted to the Supra. Well, we got that done. Look at the holes in the paint. That's enough to make a grown man cry. So I'm going through a bit of a midlife crisis right now, and let me show you guys what I'm talking about, because that's really messing me up. Since this kit doesn't fit this car, there's a whole bunch of things that just don't quite line up. Like this piece, for example. So it's supposed to fit right there, but I mean, you can tell it doesn't really look just right. And the issue that I'm having is, do I put it on or do I not? Because here's the other deal. This light right here is being cut off by the rest of this kit. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to take this light out and then cut out a spot for it here or relocate it to back yonder area. So my thought process right now is I'm going to leave this off because I really don't want to have to think about cutting all this out. And on top of it, there's a couple other things. One, it doesn't fit well either. This curves in, this other piece does not. 2, I'm gonna have a canard coming up here, so it's gonna be covered anyway. 3, I'm gonna probably trim this back to have it just go down to the molding, so it's not gonna be even a piece that we're gonna notice is gone. And that's my only reasons. I don't know why I started counting anyway. So we're gonna leave this off. These 2 things are another part of the kit that are a little bit of an issue. This molding piece, there's a trim on the M3 that's supposed to line up with this. Now I could have lined it up with that, but that would ruin the rest of the kit with a fitment. So the plan is we're gonna leave all this molding, although it's not perfect and doesn't match right, we're gonna leave it where it is initially. The biggest thing that we need to focus on right now is just getting the kit and the fitment correct. All those little nicks and knacks we could sort out later. Right now though, the issues we need to focus on are ones like this, where this light is being covered and this is not trimmed perfectly to where we need it to be. So we're going to have to cut this part back and then make a custom fiberglass so that way we can see this backlight and then it'll start to mold. But out of all those issues, the biggest is the fact that the door, well, it can't be opened right now. So we are going to start by addressing the area in the front and the back, getting fiberglass laid down for those, and then finishing up by getting the door sized up. So let's just get to work.
I in me, the demons call when they do what they do. And now I feel like taking off, find a place with a view. The pain is never gonna stop if it's controlling you. I know that time can heal it all, I just gotta get through. I just gotta get through, I just gotta get through. Cause I feel like taking off, find a place with a view. The pain is never gonna stop if it's controlling you. I know that time can heal it all, I just gotta get through. Sometimes I feel like all is lost, but I know it's not true. I wanna put up on my wall
Taxes. That's not a joke. After that, I decided I was gonna take a nap, and about 15 minutes into the nap, I realized I'm just staring at a wall with my eyes wide open. That kind of nap stinks. So as you can see, we got that first layer of fiberglass on, and it's solid. It's just about tacky on the outside, not completely like dry. We used a fiberglass matte mesh looking thing just because it's what I had. I like the other checkered stuff a little better than this stuff, but this stuff is gonna work just as well, if not maybe even better, but who knows? That's just a theory, a film theory. I spent about 15 minutes looking for this fiberglass resin so I could make the flares happen. Turns out some idiot had put it away in the correct spot and I couldn't find it, because I didn't look there. On the back flares, we kept this L indent. I'm not sure if that's the final way I'm gonna go, if I'm gonna have this piece come back out around, but for now this is gonna work, so that way at least we can have this, or keep the whole process moving on the flares. This door is the next thing that we need to work on. We're gonna go ahead and pull off the flare, open the door, put the flare back on, close the door, and then we're gonna use cardboard to mark out a line on the inside of the door to cut out. Seems complicated. When you see it, you're gonna be like, that's not complicated, this is actually simple. Someone on Instagram told me, I forget who, I looked them up, but that would take 10 seconds, and I ain't gonna have that type of time. So let's go ahead and get this off and get the flare marked out for the door marked out. You guys know what we're doing. I am a cartist. It may look a little funny from this angle with there being, making it look like it has a huge gap, but trust me, the gap really isn't that bad. That's all it is on the top, and let's be real, that's not bad at all. We're good. I know what I'm doing. Yeah, okay. At least I hope so. It's the next day, and things went so well yesterday that I tried to shave myself to have a mustache. It was a mistake, but I'm actually genuinely surprised how normal it looks. This is not gonna last. Car-wise though, it's time to make the inserts for the door. The first thing I need to do is I actually need to replace all these three with rib nuts like I had mentioned before, because this bottom one isn't actually connected. Right above that other rib nut, that one, whatever reason the rib nut just wasn't holding, so I need to put some actual screws in there so it's held correctly into place, because otherwise that's gonna mess everything up. Once that's done, we're going to need to make a support to get that gap filled out and flush, and then we could fill in perfectly. Luckily for us, we only really need to work on the part that's connected to the door, because the part that's connected to the rest of the flare is in the shape that we already want it to. This piece just bowed in like we talked about before. So let's replace these rib nuts with actual screws, and then we'll go from there. After laying some more fiberglass and trimming it up, we're starting to get a pretty good fit there. I mean, it's heckin' sick. The big issue is this top area here. You can't really tell right now, but this is kind of overlapping the door just a bit. There gives it a better angle, but the plus side is we're able to sand that all down so that way it'll fit the door. We're getting a similar thing on the bottom right here, but this really isn't much of an issue because we put extra material on so that we could address this and sand this through. So we are in the perfect position. That's an okay sign, by the way. Like, yo, we're okay. Also, it's a heckin' gorgeous day outside, so I was planning to just work on the Supra all afternoon, but my siblings' cars broke down. I mean, why did they do this? This is ridiculous. This one's wheel fell off, and this one doesn't have any working brakes. Now, personally, I don't think brakes are really necessary. It's kind of just an old-fashioned tool that people use to slow down. I just always would just do the gas, but then throw it in reverse, so that way it slows myself down. But for whatever reason, my brother's a little old-fashioned, so we do have to fix the brakes on his car. And my sister really is opposed to trikes. I don't know what happened. The other day, she actually went on strike against trikes, so she actually needs all 4 wheels on her car, or else it's gonna cause some family drama, and we really don't want that. Speaking of family drama, we're gonna go ahead and put some body filler on this side of the panel and then let that dry so we can start sanding it down and getting this part done. We are at a stopping point now where we have this filler mostly sanded, at least the first step done. We're definitely going to need another lighter coat of filler to fill in a lot of these gaps that weren't quite there, but we're starting to see this as it's going to finally look. And this is where we're going to be ending the video today. Oh my gosh, Phil, this is so anticlimactic. How could you end on this without finishing it? It's not. So the truth of the matter is, I've been working on this project since I posted my last video, which was over a month ago at this point. It's been tough to make time to work on the car, as I'm sure you guys can understand, although that'll be changing very soon. But I was looking at the time it would take in actual days to finish what I wanted to, which was get it completely smooth, primed and on the car. And I realized that's gonna take about another week of work roughly, because I'd have to sand it all down, which sanding takes a long time since I'm doing it by hand, since I don't have a power sander. And then I'd have to refill, wait for it to dry, sand again, come back with another layer of filler, go over it, prime it. It's just gonna take a bit of time. Plus, I want to put this on, and putting that on is too short just to make in one video. So next episode, we're going to be finishing the flares and getting the ducktail on, and maybe a little more. But we need to end this video so that way I don't just like die on YouTube. I need to upload. I am so bad. My voice just cracked. I'm growing up. But let me know what you guys are thinking of this so far. I think it's looking pretty cool. If you guys have any suggestions for modifications, actually let me know, because I got too wrapped up in the flares. I haven't thought that as far as head. Yeah, you guys know what I mean in English. Dislike, unsubscribe, hit in the comments, guys. Bye.